Hello, historians. Today we're going to be starting our process of argumentative writing, and we're going to first start by looking at how to form an argumentative claim, as I have outlined right here. So before we can make the argumentative claim, we need to decipher what the question is asking, what type of response is being called for. And really, it breaks down to two separate sections for me. And I apologize if this isn't the official way of doing it. However, this is the way that makes the most sense to me. So first, you have to ask yourself, is it a yes or no prompt? And what I mean by that is the response would be, yes, it is because, or no, it wouldn't because. And an example of a type of no, yes or no prompt would be, is Star Wars the best science fiction franchise? So you can take two sides to that. One could say yes, and one could say no. Okay. You also have what's called a topic versus topic prompt. To me, what this is saying is that there's a lot of options out there that people can have an opinion on what is the best. And then there are some that you don't agree with, but you could see the other side's logic. So, for example, would be which is the better science fiction franchise? One could say Star Trek, one could say Star Wars, one could say, whatever else you really want to say. Okay, so I'm going to kind of model how to go through the argumentative claim process with both types of prompts. So first, you have to ask yourself, what is it? Is it a yes, no prompt? So an example would be to give your opinion first. Oh, excuse me. You want to give the opposite opinion first, and then a rationale, and then you want to give your opinion second with because. Okay, so what does this look like? You got to open it up with, one could argue that Star Wars is not the best science fiction franchise because. So this is not my opinion. If you guys know me, I'm a huge Star Wars nerd. However, I could see why somebody would say it's not because of its lack of creativity. In reality, so this is now my opinion, it is because of its success in the box office. So I'm kind of borrowing the idea of the informative writing model that I did because it's like creativity. Sure. So I'm going to read it out loud and make sure it makes sense. One could argue that Star Wars is not the best science fiction franchise because of its lack of creativity. In reality, it is because of its success in the box office. Okay, so now this, just like a thesis statement, outlines the rest of the paper. That's why this one sentence is pretty important. Okay, so this is the yes-no example. Okay, now moving on to the topic versus topic prompt, you have to understand other opinions. And this is what's kind of difficult because now instead of a yes-no 50-50 shot, now you have to actually understand the topic more. So I'm going to use Star Trek as what some people could say is the better, because if you know your science fiction lore, there's a bunch of nerds out there too about them. Okay, so one could argue that Star Trek is the better science fiction franchise. And again, this is all just repeating the prompt. It's not rocket science here. It's the science fiction franchise because, and why would somebody say that? It's rich history, then comma, in reality, Star Wars is the better franchise because its success in the box office. All right, let me rewrite it and make sure it makes sense. Oh, goo. All right, here we go. Because of its... Okay. One could argue that Star Trek is the better science fiction franchise because of its rich history. In reality, Star Wars is the better franchise because of its success in the box office. So again, it's important to get this one sentence down And you're going to put this the very last part of the introduction, because this now outlines the rest of your paper. It's going to give you your counterclaim, and it's going to give you your topic sentence, which I'm going to cover in future videos. But again, my thought process to all this, I'm going to say the opposite opinion first, and then my opinion second. Okay? So you have to understand both sides and the rationale why somebody would have that opinion in order to do this. Okay?